There are many types of data, ranging from the simple, like numbers or letters or even strings of text like hello, to very complex data structures that could encode something like graphics or sound. All programming languages have built-in mechanisms for understanding how to deal with different types of data that you might use. Now, remember that all data, whether it is text or numbers or music, is all going to be encoded in the same way, binary. When you look inside your computer at the binary, you will not be able to tell the difference between one data type and another. Let's imagine that we open up your computer and we look at your memory and we see a stream of ones and zeros. How can you know whether it is referring to a number or text, or maybe it's part of a music file or something else? You can't. The same binary that means one thing if it is a number could mean something entirely different if it is part of a music file. That is why you must be specific in any program you write and state what type of data you are working with. Whenever you are writing a program and you are going to be using data, you must always specify what kind of data it is that you are working with. For example, if you are planning on having someone type text on their keyboard as part of your program, then you need to tell the programming language that the type of data you expect to work with is text. If you are doing some addition on numbers, then you need to tell the program that the type of data you expect to work with are numbers. Every programming language has a slightly different way of doing this. However, some things tend to be nearly universal. Concerning text, you will usually place the text inside of either single quotes or double quotes. By putting your text within quotes, you're basically telling your programming language that you are working with text. Now, if you're working with numbers, typically you don't have to put the numbers inside of quotes. So using quotes is one example of how you specify what kind of data you are working with. Now, there are many different kinds of data, and this is just one example. But whenever you are using a specific character, in this case a quotation mark, in order to ensure that your programming language works with your data correctly, that is one example of syntax. Syntax in any programming language refers to the specific way in which you use that particular programming language. So for example, using quotes in text is an example of syntax, and it's true in many programming languages, but not all programming languages. So before we go on to our next lesson, remember that you must specify the kind of data that you are working with, because all data is just a sequence of ones and zeros, and you cannot know what the data is just by looking at those ones and zeros.